Megan Harper closed her eyes in her small apartment on Earth and opened them to find herself in a vast chamber with crystalline walls that shimmered with colors she had never seen before. On a throne of what appeared to be liquid metal sat a tall, humanoid figure with iridescent skin and eyes like twin galaxies. Megan tried to scream, but no sound came from her throat. The alien figure rose gracefully and approached her with a smile that revealed teeth like polished pearls. "I see you are awake, my love." The alien spoke directly into her mind. "My people rejoice that the queen has finally found her consort." Consort? Megan finally found her voice. "What are you talking about? Who are you? Where am the Sao? Am Zara, sovereign of the Lumerian Empire. And you, Megan Harper of Earth, are my chosen mate. We were joined in the sacred bond while you slept. It is our way." Megan felt dizzy. How could she be married to an alien queen? She had gone to sleep single and woke up in what appeared to be an intergalactic, royal marriage. She looked down at her arm and noticed a glowing symbol etched into her skin that pulsed with blue light. "When you were chosen, our geneticists confirmed the match," Zara continued. "We have watched your world for centuries searching for the perfect genetic companion. Your species fascinates us." Megan backed away until she hit a wall that felt warm and alive. "Is this a kidnapping? Am I a prisoner?" "Not a prisoner," Zara said with what seemed like genuine surprise. "You are royalty now, the highest position any being can hold in our realm. Come, I will show you against her better judgment." Megan followed the alien queen through corridors that seemed to shift and change as they walked. Servants with similar iridescent skin bowed deeply as they passed. Some looked at Megan with curiosity, others with what she recognized as fear. Zara led her to a balcony overlooking a vast city that stretched to the horizon. Spires of crystal and metal reached toward 3 moons hanging in a purple. Sky-flying vehicles moved in perfect harmony through the air, and beings of various shapes and colors filled the streets below. "This is Lemuria, prime world of our empire," Zara said with pride. "It spans 12 solar systems and includes 27 sentient species. All who recognize Lumerian rule and protection." Megan stared in awe. "How can I understand you?" she asked. "The joining ceremony connected our minds," Zara explained. "You now carry a fragment of my consciousness, as I carry a fragment of yours. It allows for perfect communication but not perfect understanding." Megan thought, why would an advanced alien species need to kidnap humans for marriage? Zara turned to her as if hearing the thought. "Because we are dying," she said simply. "Our genetic code is breaking down after millennia of selective breeding. We need fresh genetic material to survive, and humans, particularly you, Megan Harper, have exactly what we need." Servants brought strange food on floating platters. The meal looked like jewels and smelled like nothing Megan had ever experienced on Earth. Cautiously, she tried a purple crystal that dissolved on her tongue with a flavor like honey and starlight. "You must be confused and frightened," Zara said as they ate. "I understand this is not how humans form pair bonds. You think Megan nearly choked. I would say kidnapping someone while they sleep and declaring them married is pretty far from a human pair." Zara tilted her head. "What would you have preferred? A courtship period? Gifts? Declarations of intent?" Megan laughed despite herself. "Maybe starting with hello and a coffee date." Zara looked puzzled. "Coffee? The bean water humans consume." "Yes. Our research mentioned this ritual. Perhaps we could simulate this experience if it would make your transition easier." After the meal, Megan was shown to her quarters, a suite of rooms larger than her entire apartment building back on Earth. Everything adjusted to her presence. The temperature shifted. To her comfort level, lights dimmed when she squinted. The bed conformed to her body when she sat on it. Guards stood outside her door. But Megan quickly discovered they were not there to keep her in, but to keep others out. She was free to explore certain areas of the palace. She spent days wandering through gardens where plants responded to emotions through music, and libraries where information floated in the air, waiting to be plucked and absorbed. Zara visited her daily answering questions and asking her own, what is rain like on skin? Why do humans keep animals that serve no purpose? What does laughter feel like from the inside? Despite herself, Megan began to look forward to these conversations. Zara was unlike any being she had ever met, powerful yet curious, ancient yet somehow innocent. On the 7th day, Zara brought her a gift, a small creature that looked like a cross between a cat and a butterfly. It purred and floated around Megan's head, leaving a trail of soft light. We call them luminae, she explained. They bond with one person for life. This one has chosen you. The creature landed on Megan's shoulder and nuzzled her ear. Its touch sent a wave of calm through her body. It is helping you adjust to our atmosphere. Zara said, there are elements here that can cause distress in humans. The luminate filters them. Is that why I keep having strange dreams? Megan asked. Dreams. Zara seemed concerned. What kind of dreams? Megan described the visions that came every night. Images of Lumerian children with human eyes, cities crumbling into dust, stars going dark. Zara grew very still. Those are not dreams, she said finally. Those are prophecies. The bond between us is stronger than I anticipated. You are seeing our future. Without you. Megan stared at the alien queen. What do you mean without me? Zara took her hand. Our scientists have discovered that your DNA contains something we call the resilience gene. It allows humans to adapt at remarkable rates. It is why your species has survived so many catastrophes. It is what my people need, but the process to extract and replicate it is not simple. So I really am a prisoner. Megan pulled her hand away. A lab experiment. No, Zara said firmly. You are my consort. My equal. The gene cannot be taken. It must be given freely through a true bond, and that requires time. Something we have precious little of. Megan looked out at the alien city. The luminette on her shoulder hummed soothingly. Every instinct told her to find a way home, but something else, a growing curiosity, pulled her toward this new world and its enigmatic queen. Take me to your scientists, Megan said. Finally, I want to understand exactly what I am here for. Zara nodded. Tomorrow you will learn everything she promised, and then you will have a choice. The next morning, Megan followed Zara through a series of descending platforms that took them deep beneath the palace. The walls changed from crystalline to a material that seemed to absorb light. The air grew cooler and filled with a scent like ozone after rain. This is the heart of Lumeria, Zara explained as they entered a vast circular chamber where our most important research happens, where we hope to save our people. Scientists moved around the space with purpose. Their skin colors varied, from deep blue to pale silver. All wore the same focused expression as they monitored floating screens and adjusted equipment Megan had never seen. At the center of the chamber stood a column of swirling energy. Inside it, tiny lights pulsed and danced, like fireflies. That is our collective genetic code, Zara said. Every Lumerian who has ever lived and ever will live, their essence captured and preserved. But it is failing. A tall scientist approached them and bowed. His skin was the color of twilight. His eyes held the same galaxy depth as Zara's. This is Narration, my brother and chief geneticist. Zara introduced him. He will explain our situation better than I can. Narration gestured to a platform that rose from the floor as they stepped onto it. Images appeared around them, three-dimensional models of DNA strands. Megan recognized the double helix structure from her high school biology, but these were far more complex. For 10,000 years, we have selectively enhanced our genetic code, Narration began. His voice was deeper than Zara's but held the same musical quality. We eliminated disease, extended lifespan, increased intelligence, but in doing so we created a problem. The images shifted, showing breaks and mutations in the complex structures. We became too perfect, he continued, too static. Our bodies stopped adapting to environmental changes. Our immune systems grew weaker with each generation. Children began to be born with cellular degradation. The images now showed small bodies with skin that seemed to be flaking away like ash. In the last century, birth rates have fallen by 80%. Naren continued. Those children who survive often live in pain, their bodies unable to maintain cellular cohesion. We have perhaps 3 generations left before extinction. So you went looking for compatible species, Megan guessed. Yes, Zara confirmed. We explored thousands of worlds, tested millions of species. Humans showed the most promise. Your genetic adaptability is remarkable, but even among humans, finding the right match was difficult. We needed someone with specific genetic markers. Naren pressed his hand to a panel and a new image appeared. Megan's DNA alongside what she assumed was Lumerian. DNA, you have what we call the Phoenix sequence, he explained. Most beings adapt over generations through natural selection, but humans, and specifically you, have genes that can adapt within a single lifetime. Your cells can rewrite themselves in response to environmental stress. It is unprecedented, is that why I was chosen? Megan asked. Partly, Zara said. But there is more. We needed someone whose mind could withstand the joining. Someone whose consciousness could merge with mine without being overwhelmed. The genetic compatibility is only half the equation. The mental compatibility is equally important, and you tested this. How? Megan asked suspiciously. Through dreams, Naren answered. For the past year, we have been sending probes into your mind while you slept, testing your responses, mapping your neural pathways. Megan felt violated. Those were real dreams. The ones about flying over crystal cities, swimming in starlight, yes. Zara confirmed. Those were our first contacts. We would not have proceeded with the joining if your mind had rejected the connection. But you accepted it eagerly. Your consciousness reached back to mine. It was something we had not anticipated. So what happens now? Megan asked. What exactly do you need from me? Naren looked at Zara, who nodded permission. We need your genetic material combined with Queen Zara's to create a new generation of Lumerians, he explained. Not just any combination, but one that occurs naturally through deep bonding. What humans might call love. The strongest genetic transfers happen when both beings are fully connected mentally and physically. Wait, Megan felt her face grow hot. You mean yes, Zara said simply. A true joining, in human terms. Consummation of our marriage. It must be genuine. The genetic sequence we need only activates when your body and mind truly accept the bond. Megan turned away, trying to process this information. They needed her to not just accept this alien marriage, but to genuinely fall in love with Zara. To want her. What if I refuse? She asked quietly. Then we will return you to Earth, Zara said. No harm will come to you. The memory of your time here will fade like a dream, but my people will continue their decline toward extinction. The luminet on Megan's shoulder made a soft trilling sound, sensing her distress. It nuzzled against her neck, sending waves of calm through her body. There is something else you should know, Naren said. A complication. Zara shot him a warning look, but he continued. There is a faction among our people called the Void Sect. They believe our genetic purity should be maintained at all costs. They oppose any mixing with other species, especially humans. They see it as contamination. They have spies in the palace. They will try to prevent the joining, perhaps by eliminating. You eliminate. Megan repeated. Me, they view you as a threat to our evolutionary path, Naren explained. They would rather see our species end naturally than be transformed by outside influence. Great, Megan said. So either I fall in love with an alien queen and have alien babies, or I get assassinated by alien purists. Excellent options. We will protect you, Zara promised. I have assigned my most elite guards to your security. No harm will come to you while you are under my protection. Megan walked around the platform, examining the genetic models floating in the air. The science was beyond her understanding, but the situation was becoming clear. She was the key to saving an entire civilization, or at least giving them a fighting chance. Show me the children again, she requested. The sick ones. Naren waved his hand and holographic images appeared. Children with luminous skin and galaxy eyes like Zara, but with bodies that seemed to be dissolving. Their faces showed pain, but also a deep dignity. How many, she asked. Thousands, Zara said. And more born every day to the same fate. We have tried everything else, every treatment, every genetic therapy. Nothing works. Megan reached out to touch a hologram. Her hand passed through the image of a small girl whose eyes looked directly at her with something like hope. I need time to think, she said finally. Of course, Zara agreed. Take all the time you need. But know that those who oppose us grow stronger each day. The longer we wait, the more dangerous your position becomes. As they left the laboratory, Megan noticed guards positioned at every junction. Their hands rested on weapons that hummed with energy. They bowed to Zara, but their eyes followed Megan with suspicion, back in her quarters. Megan paced, trying to make sense of everything. The luminette floated nearby, occasionally emitting soft light in patterns that seemed to match her mood. She was not a prisoner. She could leave. That much was clear. But could she live with herself knowing she had turned her back on an entire species that needed her? And then there was Zara, alien and yet somehow familiar. The mental connection between them grew stronger each day. Megan could sometimes sense Zara's emotions. A deep sadness, a flicker of hope, and something else. Something like longing. That night Megan dreamed of Earth. Her apartment. Her job filing reports in a gray office. Her lonely dinners in front of the television. She woke with tears on her face. The luminette hovered above her, pulsing with concern. Okay, little one, she whispered, just homesick for a home that was never really home. She made her decision at dawn. Megan found Zara in the royal gardens, kneeling beside a pool of liquid that shifted colors like an oil slick. The alien queen looked up as Megan approached. Her galaxy eyes seemed dimmer than before. I have questions, Megan said, sitting beside her, on the strange grass that felt like velvet. Ask. Anything, Zara replied. I will not hide truth from you. If I agree to this joining, how exactly would it work? Megan asked. What would happen to me? Your body would remain yours. Zara explained. Our genetic material would be harvested during moments of deep connection and used to create embryos in our laboratories. You would not carry the children yourself if that concerns you. It does a little, Megan admitted. But there is more to it than that. What about my life on Earth? My family? My friends, Zara looked puzzled. According to our research, you live alone. You have few close connections. Your parents are deceased. You rarely speak to your brother. You have what humans call colleagues, but not friends. Is this incorrect? Megan winced at the accuracy. No, that's about right, she admitted. But still, Earth is my home, is it? Zara asked gently. Or is it simply the only home you have known? Would you return to your small dwelling, your unfulfilling work, your solitary existence if given the choice to remain here as royalty? As someone vital and necessary to have purpose? The question hit Megan hard. What was she really going back to? An apartment she could barely afford, a job she hated, microwave dinners, and reality television nights. Loneliness. What would my role be here, she asked, if I stayed? Not just as a genetic donor, but day to day, you would rule alongside me. Zara said, you would help lead our people through the transition. You would be the bridge. Between Lumerian and human understanding, you would help shape the future of two species. The luminette on Megan's shoulder hummed as if approving of this idea. And what about us? Megan asked quietly. This bond they say we need. It has to be real, doesn't? And not just for show, yes. Zara confirmed. Our bodies know the difference. A surface-level connection would not produce the genetic response we need. The feelings must be genuine. And do you feel anything? Megan pressed. Or am I just a convenient solution to your species' problem? Zara was silent for a moment. When I first saw you in the genetic scans, you were just data. A perfect match, a solution, she admitted. But since the joining, since sharing thoughts and time, I have felt something growing. Something new to me. Lumerians do not experience emotions as humans do. Our connections are deeper but less volatile. What I feel for you, I have no comparison for. It is without precedent. It was perhaps the most honest answer Megan could have hoped for. I will stay, she decided. I will try this joining. But I have conditions. Name them, Zara said. First, I want to learn everything about Lumerian culture, politics, science. I will not be a figurehead queen. If I'm to rule, I need to understand. Second, I want open access to the research about the joining process and the children that would come from it. No secrets. Third, I want combat training, she said firmly. If these Void Sect people want me dead, I want to be able to defend myself. I won't hide behind guards. And fourth, I want time. Real time to know you. Before any genetic harvesting happens, I need to know who I'm saving and why they deserve to be saved. Zara seemed surprised by the last condition but nodded. To all of this, I agree, she said. But time is the one luxury. We may not have the Void Sect grows bolder. They have sympathizers even within the palace walls, then we'll have to work quickly, Megan said. Tell me everything about them. Who leads them? What do they want? How do they operate? Zara spent the next hours explaining the complex political situation the Void Sect had formed centuries ago when the first genetic anomalies appeared. Some Lumerians believed it was a natural evolutionary end, a sign that their species had reached its pinnacle and should accept extinction with dignity. Others, like Zara, believed in adaptation and finding new paths forward. The sect operated in shadows, their exact numbers unknown. Their leader was a Lumerian named Corvus, once a respected geneticist, now a radical purist. He believed that mixing Lumerian genes with any other species was an abomination. So it's racism, basically, Megan said. But with species instead of skin color. Zara tilted her head. The concept translates imperfectly, but yes, there is fear of difference, fear of change. The next days fell into a rhythm. Mornings spent in the laboratory learning Lumerian biology. Afternoons in combat training with royal guards who taught her to use her smaller size and lesser strength to advantage evenings with Zara, learning about Lumerian history, art, music. The Luminet never left her side. She named it Spark for the trail of light it left when excited. It learned to alert her when someone approached her quarters. It brought her small objects it thought might interest her. A crystal that sang when touched, a flower that changed color with moods. Megan began to notice patterns in palace life. Guards who changed rotation too frequently, servants who lingered too long, conversations that stopped when she entered a room. She started keeping a mental map marking potential security weaknesses, noting which Lumerians seemed to watch her with extra attention. She kept this to herself, not yet certain who to trust. One night, as she and Zara walked along a high balcony, overlooking the capital city, Megan felt a shift in the air. A subtle wrongness spark flew up, suddenly emitting a high-pitched tone. Megan reacted without thinking, tackling Zara to the ground as something whistled through the air where they had been. Standing, a projectile embedded itself in the wall behind them, sizzling with energy. Guards swarmed around them, weapons drawn. Zara pulled Megan close, shields of energy forming around them both. "Are you hurt?" the alien, Queen, asked, her galaxy eyes wide. With concern. "No," Megan said, but that was close, too close. They knew exactly where we'd be later in Zara's private chambers, secured and guarded. They discussed the attempt. The Void Sect grows bold, Zara said. They have never directly attacked royalty before. This changes everything. We must accelerate our plans. The joining ceremony must happen soon. Megan said, pacing the room. That's exactly what they want us to do, to rush to make mistakes. We need to be smarter. We need to flush them out. How would you suggest we do that? Zara asked. Megan smiled. I have an idea, she said. But you're not going to like it. The next day, announcements went out across the empire. Queen Zara and her human consort would undertake the sacred joining ceremony in 7 days' time. The genetic merging would begin. A new era for Lumeria would dawn. The palace erupted in activity. Preparations for the ceremony dominated every conversation. Security increased tenfold. Delegates from all 12 systems began arriving, bringing gifts and pledges of support. And as Megan had predicted, the Void Sect reacted. They called for protests. They distributed messages, warning of genetic contamination. They made threats, all of which was exactly what Megan wanted. Each night she met secretly, with Narration and a small group of loyal guards planning setting traps, gathering intelligence. She used her human understanding of psychology to predict reactions that the logical Lumerians would never consider. "You think like water," Captain Vex, the head of royal security, told her after she explained her strategy. "Flowing around obstacles, finding weaknesses. We Lumerians think like crystal, linear structured. Your approach is unpredictable." "That's the point," Megan said. "Unpredictability is humanity's greatest strength. It's what kept us alive through ice ages and plagues and our own stupidity. We adapt, we improvise, we overcome." The night before the ceremony, Zara came to Megan's quarters. Her iridescent skin seemed to glow brighter than usual. "Are you certain about tomorrow?" she asked. "This plan of yours places you in considerable danger." "I'm certain," Megan said. "The Void Sect will strike during the ceremony. It's their last chance. They know it, and we know it. The difference is we know exactly how. They'll do it." Zara moved closer. "I have lived for 3 centuries," she said. "I have ruled for 1. I have faced wars and disasters and difficult decisions, but I have never been as afraid as I am now. Afraid of losing you." Megan felt something shift between them. The mental connection that had been growing stronger flared suddenly. She could feel Zara's emotions, not just sense them. A deep protectiveness, a fierce determination, and something else. Something unmistakably like love. They stood together at the window, looking out at the 3 moons of Lumeria spark. The luminet circled them, leaving trails of soft light. "Tomorrow will change everything," Megan said. "Yes." Zara agreed. "One way or another, we face our future together." "Together," Megan echoed, surprised, to find how right the word felt. The day of the ceremony dawned with all 3 moons still visible in the morning sky, an occurrence that happened only once every 60 years. The Lumerians took it as a powerful omen. Megan stood before a mirror as attendants dressed her in ceremonial robes that seemed to be made of liquid starlight. The material flowed around her body, adjusting itself perfectly. The symbol on her arm that marked her as Zara's consort glowed brighter than ever. "Are you ready?" Captain Vex asked from the doorway. The tall guard commander looked unusually tense. "As ready as he'll ever be," Megan replied. Spark, the luminet, hovered near her shoulder, its light pulsing with what seemed like nervous energy. "Is everyone in position?" "All as you planned," Vex confirmed. "The security grid has been modified according to your specifications. The loyal guards are in place. The decoys are prepared, and the bait Narration has it. The genetic template is an exact replica. It will fool their sensors." Megan nodded. "Good," she said. "And Zara, the queen, awaits you in the Grand Hall," Vex said. "Her brother Narration stands with her along with the High Council." "One last thing," Megan said, reaching into a hidden pocket in her robes. She pulled out a small device Narration had created for her. It looked like a jewelry piece but contained a neural disruptor that worked specifically on Lumerian brain patterns. "If anyone tries to take me, make sure this is within reach." Vex nodded solemnly. "I will guard it with my life." The Grand Hall of Lumeria was a massive space that seemed larger on the inside than should have been possible. The ceiling opened directly to space, protected by energy fields that kept the atmosphere in, but allowed the stars to be seen. The walls were living crystal that hummed with energy. The floor was a material that shifted and rippled like water, but remained solid underfoot. Thousands of Lumerians from all 12 systems filled the hall. Their iridescent skin created a sea of shifting colors, their galaxy eyes all turned toward Megan. As she entered, guards lined the processional path, their weapons ceremonial but functional. At the center of the hall stood a raised dais where Zara waited. Her robes matched Megan's, but seemed to contain actual stars, tiny points of light that burned and moved within the fabric. Her crown was a circlet of metal that looked like liquid silver. Megan walked slowly, deliberately letting everyone see her. the human who would change their species forever. She kept her eyes forward, ignoring the whispers, the stares. She focused only on Zara, whose mental presence grew stronger with each step as she reached the dais. She felt the first brush of another mind against hers. Not Zara, but someone else. Someone searching, probing. She kept her thoughts, carefully neutral, letting nothing slip. "Your Majesty," she said formally, bowing to Zara, my consort. Zara replied, taking Megan's hands. The joining begins. The ceremony was complex. Ancient words were spoken, symbols drawn in the air with light, promises exchanged. Megan followed the ritual as she had been taught, but her senses remained alert, watching for any sign of the attack she knew would come. It happened during the third recitation. As Narration stepped forward, carrying what appeared to be a crystal vial, the lights in the hall flickered briefly. Spark, the luminette, shot upward, emitting a high warning tone. Now Megan shouted. Guards moved instantly, forming a protective circle around Zara and Megan. Captain Vex raised her weapon toward the high balconies, where movement could be seen. 3 figures in dark robes leapt from different positions, converging on the dais. They moved with inhuman speed, weapons glowing with deadly energy. Their target was not Zara, as everyone had expected, but Narration and the vial he carried. The false genetic template, the bait Megan had prepared, knowing the Void Sect would try to destroy it. What the Lumerians hadn't expected was Megan's next move. Instead of retreating with Zara as planned, she broke away from the guards and ran directly toward the attackers. Spark, the luminette, flew beside her, leaving a trail of brilliant light that momentarily blinded the nearest attacker. Megan slid beneath the first attacker's guard, using a move Captain Vex had taught her. The Lumerian stumbled, unused to human fighting styles. Before he could recover, Megan had already moved past him, targeting the leader she recognized from intelligence briefings. Corvus, the former geneticist. He was taller than the others, his skin a deep midnight blue, his eyes cold and calculating. He held a weapon that hummed with deadly energy. "You contaminate our species," he hissed at her. "No," she replied. "I save it." She feinted left, then rolled right, coming up behind a decorative column. Corvus fired his weapon, the energy blast reducing the column to dust. But Megan was already moving again. Spark flying interference, creating distracting patterns of light. The other Void Sect attackers were engaged with the Royal Guards. Energy weapons discharged, creating chaos and confusion. The assembled dignitaries fled in panic. "Where is the real genetic material?" Corvus demanded, stalking toward Megan. "There isn't any," she said. "Yet that's what you don't understand. The joining hasn't happened. You attacked too soon. Your spies gave you the wrong information." Corvus hesitated, confusion crossing his features. This was part of Megan's plan, using human deception against the logical Lumerians. "Now," Megan shouted. Captain Vex and her guards surrounded Corvus, cutting off his escape, their weapons charged and ready. But the Void Sect leader had one final move. He raised his weapon not toward Megan or the guards, but toward himself. "No," Megan cried, diving forward. She knocked the weapon aside as it discharged the energy blast, hit the ceiling, creating a cascade of crystal shards that rained down. Spark flew up, creating a shield of light that deflected the worst of the debris. Corvus stared at Megan in shock. "You saved me," he said. "Why? Because that's what humans do." Megan said, "We save people. Even people who hate us. It's our greatest weakness and our greatest strength." The guards secured Corvus and the other attackers. The ceremonial hall was in disarray, but the immediate danger had passed. Zara rushed to Megan, her galaxy, eyes wide with concern. "You could have been killed," she said, pulling Megan close. "Why did you not follow the plan? Why did you put yourself at risk?" "Because it was the only way," Megan explained. "The Void Sect needed to see that humans don't think like Lumerians. That we are unpredictable, adaptable, that we can show mercy, even to enemies, and that makes us dangerous." Narration approached, carrying the real genetic template vial. It had been hidden on his person the entire time. The false one was merely a decoy. The plan worked. He said the Void Sex leadership is captured, their network exposed. We can proceed with the joining when you are ready. Megan looked at Zara. Are we ready? She asked quietly. Zara took her hand. I have been ready since I first saw you, she said, but the choice remains yours. The assembled Lumerians watched in silence, the future of their species hanging on a human's decision. I choose to stay, Megan said clearly, so all could hear. I choose to join with Queen Zara. I choose to help save the Lumerian people. But I do so freely as an equal, not as a savior or a genetic donor, but as a partner in creating something new. Something that has never existed before. A cheer went up from the crowd. Spark flew loops of joy around them, leaving trails of bright light. The ceremony resumed. Without the planned attack to interrupt, the ancient words were spoken, the promises made. And when Zara and Megan clasped hands, a visible energy flowed between them. The mental connection that had been growing for weeks solidified, becoming something deeper, more profound. Megan gasped as Zara's thoughts and feelings flowed into her mind. Not just surface impressions, but deep currents of memory and emotion. 3 centuries of life experiences. Washing through her consciousness, she saw Lumeria through Zara's eyes. The beauty and burden of rulership, the loneliness of leadership, the fear for her people's future, and the growing affection for the strange human who had changed everything in. Return Zara experienced Megan's life. The brief, intense years on Earth. The struggles and triumphs, the loneliness and determination, the capacity for hope that seemed uniquely human. When the joining was complete, Narration stepped forward with the genetic template vial. It glowed with new energy, the combined essence of human and Lumerian. It is done, he announced. The template is viable. The future of our species is secured. The celebrations lasted for days. Delegations from all 12 systems brought gifts and pledges of loyalty. Even from the outer colonies where Voidsec sympathy had been strongest came messengers of peace. The captured Voidsec members, including Corvus, were not executed as Lumerian law would normally demand. Instead, at Megan's insistence, they were imprisoned and given the opportunity to witness the results of the genetic program. This is human justice, Megan explained to the High Council, the chance for redemption, the opportunity to change one's mind. It is what makes us adaptable. It is why you need us. 6 months after the joining ceremony, Megan stood in the laboratory watching as Narration monitored the growth chambers. The first hybrid embryos were developing exactly as hoped. Their genetic structure showed none of the degradation that plagued pure Lumerian children. Their cellular regeneration rates were unprecedented. How many now, she asked. 112. Narration replied, all viable, all healthy. The first will be ready to emerge in approximately 6 weeks. Megan placed her hand against the transparent wall of the nearest chamber. Inside floated a small form, its skin showing both the iridescence of Lumerians and the warmer tones of human coloration. Its eyes remained closed, but brain scans showed complex activity patterns. Will they be more human or more Lumerian? She wondered. Neither, and both, Narration said. They will be something new, a species with the best qualities of each, the adaptability and emotional range of humans, the longevity and mental capabilities of Lumerians. They will be able to withstand environmental changes that would kill pure Lumerians. Their immune systems are already showing remarkable strength, and their minds, Megan asked. Will they think like us, or like you? That remains to be seen. Narration admitted. We suspect they will develop unique thought patterns, neither purely logical like Lumerians nor primarily emotional like humans, but something integrated, something we cannot predict. The uncertainty of it thrilled Megan. This was true. Evolution happening before her eyes. Not the slow crawl of natural selection, but a deliberate leap forward. The creation of something genuinely new. She had changed too in these months. Her connection with Zara had deepened beyond anything she could have imagined. Their minds linked in ways that defied human understanding. She could sense Zara's thoughts even across great distances, feel her emotions, share her memories. The alienness of it had frightened her at first, but now it felt natural. Essential, Spark the Luminet, had grown as well. Its light patterns more complex, its behavior more intelligent. It seemed to have formed a special connection with the developing embryos, often hovering near the growth chambers, singing to them in tones just beyond human hearing. Megan had taken to her role as consort with surprising ease. She had a natural diplomacy that complemented Zara's more formal approach. Where Lumerians respected tradition and hierarchy, Megan brought innovation and flexibility. The combination proved remarkably effective. She had also established communication with Earth. A careful, controlled contact through specialized quantum channels. A gradual introduction to the reality of alien life. She selected scientists, politicians, artists who could handle the truth without causing panic. They're calling it the Lumeria Project, she told Zara one evening as they stood on their private balcony, watching the three moons rise. A collaborative effort to share technology and culture. They have no idea yet that I'm here or what I've become, but they will someday. Do you miss it? Zara asked Earth. Sometimes, Megan admitted. The smell of rain, the feel of grass beneath bare feet, the taste of chocolate. She smiled. All things I can never quite explain to you. Perhaps someday you could visit, Zara suggested, when tensions have eased, when our new children have grown, when the hybrid program is secure. Perhaps Megan agreed, but not soon. Her home was here now, with Zara, with the 112 children growing in, their chambers with Spark, who now slept curled against her shoulder, with the future she was helping to build. The door chimed softly, and Captain Vex entered. The security chief bowed formally. Forgive the interruption. Your Majesties, she said, but we have received a transmission from the outer colonies. The rehabilitation program for the former Void Sect members shows promising results. Corvus himself has requested permission to observe the hybrid development. Megan exchanged a glance with Zara, their mental link buzzing with shared thoughts. Bring him here. Megan decided, we will show him what we have created, not to gloat, but to include. To heal the divisions. Vex nodded and departed. Zara took Megan's hand, her galaxy eyes shimmering with emotion that once would have been foreign to a Lumerian. You continue to surprise me, she said. This capacity for forgiveness. It is not a Lumerian trait. No, Megan agreed. It is a human one, and sometimes it works miracles. Later that night, they visited the growth chambers again. The laboratories quiet and dimmed for the night cycle. Only a few scientists remained monitoring the equipment. Spark flew ahead of them, leaving trails of soft light. They stood before the chamber of the most developed embryo, the one that would be born first, the one they had privately begun to think of as their firstborn. Have you considered names? Narration asked, joining them. Many, Zara said, but we have not decided. The naming ceremony will follow Lumerian tradition, but perhaps with some human elements. Megan placed her hand against the chamber wall. The tiny being inside seemed to respond, turning slightly toward her touch. Its small hand pressed against the barrier, mirroring hers. She felt a surge of emotion that was entirely human, protective, fierce, unconditional love. For this child that was not exactly hers, not exactly Zara's, but something new, something miraculous. I never expected this, she said quietly. When I went to sleep that night on Earth, I was alone. Lonely. I had a job I hated, an apartment I could barely afford, a life that felt meaningless I never imagined. I'd wake up married to an alien queen helping to save an entire species. Zara put an arm around her shoulders. The universe has strange paths for us all. She said, I searched for centuries for a genetic match. I never expected to find a partner. A true equal. Someone who would change not just our biology but our culture. Our way of thinking. Spark circled them, leaving a trail of light that formed a glowing ring around the family. A small private aurora, The hybrid child floated peacefully in its chamber, its brainwaves showing patterns of development never before seen in either species, its cells dividing and growing with perfect health, its future, unlimited, unwritten. I went to sleep alone and woke up married to an alien queen, Megan whispered, touching her forehead to the chamber. And somehow it turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me. 3 weeks later, the first hybrid child was born. Not from the chambers as expected, but naturally unexpectedly. The scientists were shocked. The birth of a living child without technological assistance had not happened on Lumeria in over a century. The baby girl had skin that shimmered, with subtle iridescence and eyes that held starlight, but her smile was entirely human. Her cries, her laughter, the way she reached for both, her mother's showed an emotional range no pure Lumerian had ever possessed. They named her Nova, first of the new generation bridge between worlds, symbol of hope, and as news spread throughout the 12 systems of the healthy hybrid child born without technological intervention, the last resistance to the program faded. Lumerians who had held back now volunteered, their genetic material to be combined with carefully selected human donors. The future of both species expanding in ways neither could have imagined alone. On the night of Nova's naming ceremony, Megan stood on the palace balcony holding her daughter. The 3 moons of Lumeria shone down, bathing them in silver light. Spark the Luminate circled them protectively. Zara joined them, her galaxy eyes soft with an emotion that once would have been impossible for a Lumerian to feel. "She is perfect," Zara said, touching the baby's cheek. Nova gurgled and grabbed her finger with surprising strength. "She is the future," Megan replied. "Not just hers, but ours. 2 species becoming something greater than either could be alone." Somewhere on Earth a woman was going to sleep alone, unaware that across the galaxy, a former Earth woman now held the future of 2 civilizations in her arms. All because she had once been chosen specially, had once been taken, had once awakened to find herself married to an alien queen, and had decided to stay.